Hi, I'm your big brother in recovery, Abraham, coming back to you with another episode of Don't Believe the Hype. And you know, those of you who have been following the two episodes know that the word hype is not used as a derogatory metaphor, but it's used as declaring what is a half truth and what is a truth. And what we want to do is eliminate the half truth, which is the whole lie, and talk about the truth as it pertains to the book. So what this whole thing is about is hearing things that people say that are not in alignment with what we're reading in the book. And we've already gotten off to a great start because in episode 2, the one that you just saw, I talked about don't call yourself an alcoholic. Even though our book says that once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. And guess what? The big book is right. But notice something. What's the definition of an alcoholic? Watch this. Go to page 44. Let's look at it. The definition of an alcoholic. If we read the last 3 lines, it says, if that be the case, meaning you suffer from alcoholism, you may be suffering from an illness, not a disease, which only a spiritual experience will conquer. If you look in your big book dictionary, the word conquer simply means destroy, remove, doesn't exist no more. You remember I told you I have recovered, but I'm not cured? So let me give you some more clarity on that. So this is Don't Believe the Hype, episode 2A, a continuation of what we said in the second episode, right? Notice something. How can I carry the message, which is simply we recover from alcoholism, if my life is still being controlled by alcoholism? That doesn't make sense because prior to me coming here, I didn't have any power. Now that I've worked the first 9 steps along with 10, 11, and 12, because the first 9 steps help me to recover, 10, 11, and 12 keep me recovered because it takes power to live in this world. Notice something. I'd like to draw your attention to what Bill said. They said about Bill on page 17. Let's look at it. There is a solution, one solution, so there must be one problem. But notice the first paragraph. We of Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands of men and women who were once just as hopeless as Bill. Nearly all have recovered. They've solved the drink problem. So guess what? Used to be, no longer is. But don't stop right there. Let's look at something else that is really, really interesting about this. Go to page 18. This is interesting. Notice the 3rd paragraph, or the 4th paragraph. But the ex-problem drinker, notice what the word ex means. It simply means former, the prefix EX, former, right? Problem drinker. So that just eliminated the fact you're an alcoholic. If you have recovered. If you haven't, you are. But if you've recovered, you're not. Watch this, because there are only 2 types of people in recovery. Those who are recovering and those of us who have recovered. Notice something. But the ex-problem drinker who has found this solution, what? The spiritual awakening, who is properly armed with facts about himself, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic, the one that's suffering, in a few hours. Until such an understanding is reached, little or nothing can be accomplished. Watch this. That the man who is making the approach, meaning the one who has recovered, has had the same difficulties, that he obviously knows what he's talking about. That his whole department shouts at the new prospect that he is a man with a real answer, not still talking about the problem, because that's morbid reflection, growing, thinking about the past. That he has no attitude of holier than thou. He's not talking to the new man from a spiritual mountaintop. He simply wants to help the new man, give the new man hope. Nothing, whatever, except a sincere desire to be helpful. Why? When we help others, we help ourselves. That there are no fees to pay, no axes to grind, no people to please, no lectures to be endured. These are the conditions we have found most effective. After such an approach, many take up their beds and walk again. They recover. Watch this. Go to page 20. Let's look at the top of the page. Here it goes again. You remember we said X meant former? Watch this. Our lives as ex-problem drinkers depend on our constant thought of others and how we may help meet their needs. Notice X. You may already have asked yourself, why is it that all of us become so very ill from drinking? There's the illness, not the disease. Doubtless you are curious to discover how and why. In the face of expert opinion, to the contrary, we have recovered from a hopeless condition of mind and body. If you're an alcoholic, it means you currently are consumed by alcoholism. I'm not no more. Who wants to get over it, become an ex-alcoholic or ex-problem drinker. You may already be asking, what do I have to do? It is the purpose of this book to answer such questions specifically. What we shall tell you what we have done. Before going into detailed discussion, it may be well to summarize some points as we see them. Now hold it, it gets even better. On page 29, you know it talks about further on clear-cut or simple directions are given showing how we have recovered. But I want to conclude with page 25. Page 25, second paragraph. Watch this. Let's go with the third. Let's go with the third paragraph. Notice what it's going to say. If you are seriously, what an adjective, alcoholic as we were. Notice what it says, as we were. Why? We recovered. We're no longer alcoholic. We believe there's no middle of the road solution. We were in a position where life was becoming impossible, and if we had passed into the region from which there is no return through human aid, we had but two alternatives or but two choices. Here they are. One was to go on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness, not the subconsciousness, the consciousness of our entire situation as best we could. That sounds like denial. And the other one simply is to accept spiritual help. Watch this. That we did because we honestly wanted to and were willing to make the effort. So I conclude my case based on the big book. You can call yourself what you want to. Folks call themselves all kind of stuff. Lil Red Book Lisa, 12 and 12 Tiny Tim, Big Book Bohemian. You know, I mean, I'm not being funny, I'm not being rude, but look, I'm afraid or I'm concerned about a person that puts a moniker in front of their name as opposed to, I'm just a member. Even Bill W. didn't call himself Big Book Bill, right? He just said, I'm just Bill W. Simple as that. Look at the movie. His wife, when he was getting ready to comment, his wife looked at him. He didn't even tell the people when he was sitting in the meeting who he was. Why? Because the loudest person in the room is the weakest one. Look, leave your comments. You know, let's continue to dive into the book. Again, you have the right to say what you want to say, but let's look at what the book says. Now, guess what? You can't debate with over more than 100 men and women, right? So now you see why I said let's not call ourselves something that we're no longer, and let's look forward and give God a chance. All right? Talk to you soon. Bye.